You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Sabres Zone.
Hi, good evening everybody. Welcome to the Sabres Zone, the video on the channel, if you're new here, that discusses what you had to say. So, I'm going to discuss what one of you had to say. Now, last time I messed up with this, I'm not messing up tonight. Here's the clip. And the shoutout goes to Eric Carlson 97. Great job, Wayne. You were keeping us all calm through the storm. No, Eric, it's the other way around. Okay, sorry to break the news to you. If I don't do this, I stress like you about everything about this team. Also, the Buffalo media is brutally negative and looking for immediate results. Yeah, it's hard to listen anymore. I do understand the suffering, especially after some of the moves. There is something to players not wanting to go on to Buffalo, and that makes it hard to build a good team. It will be interesting to see how this plays out. Okay, so there's a few things here we will look at. Let me just escape here because I'm trying to get something here. Okay, here we go. Look, what Eric talks about here, all right, is what goes on all the time, it seems, since, let's face it, folks, everything about this 14-year drama, okay? Eric, we're always going to have this till we make the playoffs. And here's the next drama, because this is what media does because they want to get popular. They're just going to say, well, the next thing will be, when's the Sabres last won a series? That's going to be the next thing. I guarantee it, because both of them are record lengths right now. We're not talking about that because we haven't made the playoffs yet. That'll be the immediate discussion that the Sabres make the playoffs, and let's say lose 4 games to 2. Hypothetically, they lose the first round in 6. That's all we're going to hear about after that. That's what they'll do next, okay? They won't focus on the solution, they'll focus on the problem. There's a lot of Buffalo media out there. I won't mention WGR and the 2 guys that look like Grizzly Adams. What are you going to do with that? There's not much you can do. Negative is negative. Sometimes that's the culture itself, is the media. Toronto is so brutal. Players just don't want to go there anymore. They just don't. You know, this thing about, oh, it was my dream to play as a Maple Leaf. They've overplayed that line so much out there, guys, in Toronto. Montreal, the media is just as bad. Believe me, they're just as bad here. You know, but at least now they're easing up on the language thing out here. That is one thing that's changed in Montreal, I can tell you, because they're seeing results. The Habs are getting results. They're kind of putting together a good-looking team all of a sudden. And they're not doing it with French guys. They're just not. And I think the French public knows this. It's like, you know, maybe if you guys would shut up about the language thing, because if you want to know why the Habs, you know, in 93, their last cup, I'm going off topic here, bear with me. In 93, their last cup here, right? The longest drought in Montreal Canadiens history of winning a Stanley Cup was 7 years. 7. Imagine having that as our team, guys. We're in double that drought just making the playoffs. 7 was the longest drought in Montreal till 93. And what happened right around then? Another referendum. The rest is history. Because the thing is, players just didn't want to come here forever. The language thing. They always had to have a French GM, a French coach. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Rant over, because I get angry at this stuff. It just bothers me, you know? I live out here. I have to deal with it, like, daily. So, Eric talked about the media. Well, that's my opinion on media. They suck. Media can suck, you know? And I've seen the Buffalo media. And to be honest, I can tolerate Harrington. There's some guys I can tolerate that most Buffalo fans can't. I can tolerate them. It's not a problem. You know? But when you got other guys that are just ranting and raving about the 14 years, and a league now that is being dominated by a big, tough Florida team. This Florida team's not over, folks. It's going to take one of our division to end that era or dynasty. It's going to take one of us guys. Somebody has to end them. That's how it works. A better team comes along one day and knocks out the champion. It's what happens. It's what the Oilers did eventually to the Islanders. The Islanders haven't won a cup since. That's over 40 years now. So, it's hard to listen anymore. Well, maybe you shut off this video by now. I do understand the suffering, especially after some of the moves. You know, when it comes to Kevyn Adams and trades, where did this thing start that Kevyn Adams gets hammered in trades? If anything, he's been very good at trades. I mean, we traded Middlestat and got Bo Byram. That's just one example. I can look at the Tuck deal. He did not lose that trade when you consider the corner he was pushed into, folks. He didn't lose that trade. Krebs just hasn't panned out as a prospect. He just hasn't. There's something to players not wanting to go to Buffalo. That changes with winning, okay? It's not about Buffalo so much as about a franchise that has a gray cloud over it that players just don't want to come to. They just don't want to come to that. You know, some players they believe in themselves, some players, enough that they say, I'll go. I'd like to be part of the reason that team, God, I'll be famous. If the Sabres make the playoffs, my name will be everywhere. And the market value goes up. And like you said, interesting to see how this pans out. Well, we're going to see. Because, you know, one thing I've learned in sports over the years is the minute it looks like it's doomed and it's done and it's over and it's finished, something happens for that franchise. Something happens. How many of you wrote off the Cubs ever winning a World Series or the Red Sox? And yeah, I know it was baseball, but I remember once upon a time, the Patriots couldn't win the big one. Once upon a time. Then they got Brady and things changed over there. That's what happens in sports, guys. You know? I remember back in the days of, let's go with the Golden State Warriors were a joke when I was in high school. A joke. Then they became probably the greatest team maybe I ever seen, except for the Chicago Bulls. They were a joke too. That's actually a better example. The Chicago Bulls were a joke. I remember my buddy, his older brother, he goes, yeah, my brother's a Sabres fan too. I go, you're kidding. So I talked to him, and so his two brothers were Sabres fans. This was early 80s. And when I moved into this area, I made some new friends, and then, you know, I find these things out. And I ask him, so who do you like in the NBA? He goes, don't ask. You're just going to laugh at me. I go, who? He goes, the Chicago Bulls. I go, the Bulls? Why? And then look what happened in the future when they got Jordan. Guys, things can change for pro sports franchises. If I can tell you, like the Islanders, before they won their first cup, they were labeled as chokers, a team that can't win the big one. They can't win the big one. This team is never going to win the big one. 4 cups in a row. The second greatest dynasty I ever seen. Things change with hockey teams. Back in '74, it was unheard of that an expansion team will win the Stanley Cup. The Philadelphia Flyers break through, you know? We knew the Oilers were going to. How about the Kings, guys? If you want to talk about current, and in the salary cap era, what about the Los Angeles Kings of 2012? 8th place. Every single series they went into that year, they went up 3-0. Every single time. They did not lose a road game to their last road game of that run in New Jersey. New Jersey forced a Game 6. They didn't lose on the road the whole entire playoffs till finally Game 6 in New Jersey, Game 5 in New Jersey. So don't tell me that the Sabres can't just, something can happen, because I got proof of otherwise. The Kings, if you want to talk about that, had not won a playoff series in 10 years. And then the next season, weren't noted as a contender. Boom, Stanley Cup. Yes, they were building. And they were building a bigger team at the time. If you look at the Kings team, that was a bigger team. They knew how to turn it up a notch, physical in the playoffs. And teams believe in themselves once they're in there. That's why, the most important thing that can happen for our franchise, guys, is to get in right now, just to see what we're made of. And hopefully, if we get in the playoffs, hopefully we draw Florida in the first round. Because I want to know. I want to know what we're made of in a best of 7 against the best in the world. That'll be the ultimate test. And I'll tell you what, guys, if the Sabres lost in 6, if they lost in 6 and put up a hell of a fight, and I'm talking a fight right to the end, they'd have the entire respect of the NHL the following season. The entire respect, the dynamic would change of people's perception, because that's all that's going on out there is perception, guys. The lie becomes the truth for a lot of people, Buffalo fans especially. The lie becomes the truth. They perceive things the way they aren't. We will never win with Adams. How do we know this? Really? Because you say so. I'm not saying we will or won't, but it hasn't been written yet, is what I'm saying. We get in next year into the playoffs. All of a sudden, everybody's not going to be riding Adams, guys. They're just not. They're going to leave it alone, the Adams thing. That's the way it is. I'm seeing people right now saying, I can't take it no more, I can't take it no more. Then leave. Leave. Go watch soap operas. Go watch videos. I like videos. Hell, man, I watch ABBA all the time. Guys, there's other things in life, but dogging on our team. We have enough of that already. We don't need it more. This is what Eric's talking about here, is we don't need it. We just don't need it, especially by the media. The Buffalo media is brutally negative. Yeah, for a long time. Not just recently. It's been going on for a long, long time. I started this channel, Eric, because of it. My regulars have heard that before, right, guys? I've started this channel because of the negative crap, wussy crap that Buffalo channels and media do. And that's why it's important I stick around. If I'm going to stick around for any reason, and it's to get in the heads of these other channels and call them out. Call them out. You guys are gutless. You're gutless representators of this franchise. Gutless. Guys, the best thing I can do is just tell you, move on. Move on from it, or go there, have a good laugh, or educate them. Tell them, well, you guys keeping the gray cloud around is really going to help, eh? You see, once in a while, I'll go and throw my nasty little comment over there. I'll still give it a like. I will support every Buffalo Sabres video out there. I will like every video, even if I think it sucked. No matter what. I will, any video I've watched, Buffalo Sabres related, I always give it a like, no matter what. I see you're frustrated. I get it. But this is far from over. This rebuild, this is far from over, okay? So we'll see what happens in a few months. Hell, we might start 10-2-1 next year, and everybody's going to be saying, what has Adams done? We don't know. We have to see. This is why we have a thing called games. We have opinions, and then we have games. So I'm ranting way too long because I'm getting in a piss mood here. So I'm going to leave it there. That's it. I'm being spiritual. I'm cutting it off right there. God bless you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm gonna run up a few videos tonight. See you in the next one.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to ensure Dimension access.